guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Today I have a huge collective book haul for you of things that I've bought over the past few months, a lot of which I've already read or I'm currently reading. These are just things that I'm very excited for, things that I was highly anticipating, or little gems that I came across that I haven't really heard anyone talk about. So hopefully you learn about a few new books that you want to add to your TBR while watching this video. I am so excited to get into everything. But before we dive in, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Notion. If you've never heard of Notion before, it's basically a workplace that combines every single piece you need to brainstorm, write, plan, manage projects, and do everything for your business. And as a small business owner, obviously Notion is really helpful. And Notion just launched their new AI, which is so cool and makes the entire working process so much easier. It's so useful for little day-to-day tasks. The Notion AI allows you to search within your Google Drive and Slack at the same time from your Notion workspace. It is so cool. You can ask it questions and chat about basically anything with no prompting required. There are a ton of one-click options, which makes it really easy. It can even help you with formatting and generating your own style for your business, marketing, things like that, which I always struggle with marketing materials as someone who's very therapist and reader minded. Sometimes the business minded stuff is harder for me. So having the help of AI is really useful. And look at its cutie little face. I just like it. I like the design of this little Notion AI. Unlike generic AI, Notion AI keeps up with all of your discussions on Slack. It knows all of your project updates and it keeps up to date with your Google Slides in your Google Drive. You can create better, high quality work because Notion AI has all of the context. And obviously the most convenient part of this is it's all built into the workspace that you already use. So it can use context from something like, for example, your marketing materials, which I have on my Notion workspace. I could easily ask the Notion AI what font I should use for my personal branding, or how I should format marketing for a therapy business. If you're using Notion less for a business and more for something like college work, school work, etc., you can ask the AI to quiz you on a specific document or Google Slides presentation. And it can just help you to make things more concise and clean in your work. You can feed it a brief and ask it to generate a script based on it, or to break things down into bullet points. And the best part about Notion AI is it is much more private. I know that is such a concern for myself and other people starting to use AI. We want to protect our data. And the assistant only sources info from the places that you give it access to. And of course, Notion never shares your data for AI training purposes, which is great. So if you want to get started with Notion for free and unlock the new Notion AI for only $10 a month, you can go down below and click my link. Everything will be listed down below for you. Notion is such a cool workspace already, and their inclusion of AI just makes everything 10 times easier. So I hope you guys will check it out, especially because you can get a deal for only $10 a month. Thank you so much to Notion for sponsoring this video, and now let's go ahead and get into the books. So I'm going to be going based on all the different places where I bought these books, which there are a lot. This is just a big collective. Oh my fucking god, you've got to be kidding me. There is a literal bug on my book. There's a literal bug on my book. There's a bug on my fucking book. Oh my god, there's a fucking bug on my book. What do I do? 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 Oh my god. I don't know what to do. This is a weird bug. This is a weird bug with antennas. Ah! What are you? Are you a fucking centipede? I don't have a man here. I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm strong, independent woman. Where the fuck did you come from, you stupid fucker?
Where did you come from, you stupid fucker?
I'm scared. Do I smash it? Boba, get away, honey. Get away, honey. I must protect my dog. But what if it flies? It has weird antennas. These are the gloves that I use to dust my plants. And I'm also gonna use a tissue. And we're just gonna fucking go for it. Ah! Okay, I smashed it. That was so fucking scary. I'm like not even being dramatic. I know everyone's gonna say, oh my god, she's so dramatic. I'm literally throwing this glove away. Well, that was horrifying. As I was saying, I'm gonna get into all the different places where I bought these books because there's a lot. I went on a lot of little book shopping trips over the past few months to make myself feel better. I wasn't doing well for a little bit. Don't worry, I'm doing great now. I'm honestly slaying the boots. Other than that bug, like, things have been really good. For a while there, I really had to like seek out serotonin, and the way that I was doing that was at bookstores. So I will start out with the books that I bought in Minneapolis. I went to go visit Aspen from Aspen's archive, and I bought quite a few books while I was visiting her. The first of which I actually didn't buy. She actually gifted to me. If you watched my vlog. Did I vlog? I feel like I took a video of this. Maybe it's on my private story. Well, the top tier of my Patreon gets access to my close friends story on Instagram, and they all saw that Aspen made me a little box that's like reminiscent of like the little K-pop boxes where you like open them up and you get like pictures and like music and all of this stuff or whatever. She made a box for Greta Van Fleet for me because I love Greta Van Fleet, and they have a song called Brave New World, so she put a copy of Brave New World in my little Greta Van Fleet box. It was literally so sweet. I've never had a friend like do something like that for me. I love Aspen so much. I'm obsessed with her. I've never read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, but this is a classic and I'm interested purely because of the Greta Van Fleet song. I'm not gonna lie, I know that makes me sound like a dumb Gen Z idiot, and you know what? I don't care because that's my truth. Apparently Brave New World is a I feel like that kid. Apparently, Brave New World is a darkly satiric vision of a utopian future where humans are genetically bred and pharmaceutically anesthetized to passively serve a ruling order. Oh my god, so this is about like sheeple. Okay, so we're gonna wake up the sheep. No, like I'm down. And then while I was there in the Twin Cities, I also picked up some books. We went to a few fun little bookstores. We went to a romance-only bookstore called Tropes and Trifles, and it was so cute, and I got a book there with purple sprayed edges. Look how freaking adorable, and like look at this. So this is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, and I am loving this like cozy fantastical vibe. I just want to curl up in a cabin and read this. It says this is a lush cottagecore tale full of stolen spellbooks, unexpected friendships, sweet jams, and even sweeter love. Keela has always had trouble dealing with people. Thankfully, as a librarian, she and her assistant Kaz, a magically sentient spider plant, have spent the last decade sequestered among books, preserving the magic of the city's elite. But when a revolution begins and the library goes up in flames, she and Kaz flee with all the spellbooks they can carry and head to a remote island she never thought that she'd see again, her childhood home. Keela discovers, much to her dismay, a nosy and very handsome neighbor who cannot take a hint and keeps showing up day after day to make sure that she's fed and to help fix her up in her new home. This is so freaking cute. It's gonna be a fantastical rom-com and it's gonna be so cozy, and like I just want to read this during Christmas. I don't know, that's the vision that I have for myself. We also went to, I believe it's called Moon Tower Books, which was just like a cute little indie bookstore in the Twin Cities. I love going to bookstores in whatever cities that I visit, so this one was really fun. I picked up The Night Guest by Hildur
Knutsdottir?
I don't have a good Swedish question mark accent. Sorry, I don't know where this country, I don't know where it's from. It was blurbed by CJ Lead, who wrote Mayfly, which I love that book. And it's about a woman who is seeking a diagnosis and a treatment for her constant fatigue and like chronic pain. No one will give her any like real diagnosis or cause for it. When she talks to friends and family, it's always the same. Have you tried eating better, exercising, nighttime routine, da 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 da. She tries to follow their advice, but nothing helps until one night she falls asleep with the watch on and wakes up to find she's walked over 40,000 steps in the night. What is happening while she's asleep, and why is she waking up with injuries? Why won't anyone believe her? So, psychological horror about a woman not being believed, especially in a medical context. I feel like this is right up my alley. I feel like if you have PCOS, this is gonna immediately resonate with you. I have PCOS. I'm hoping that it resonates with me. I don't know anything about this book. I literally just read the blurb in the bookstore and I was like, I have to get it. This is Lucky Dogs by Helen Schulman, and it says, on a sultry summer night in Paris, two women meet in line at an ice cream kiosk. One is tall and striking with an indeterminate accent, and the other is a troubled American TV star. When a leering male tourist hassles the pair, one of them pulls out a knife and a sisterhood is born. Both women have been victims of male violence and both are warriors. One trained and calculating, one instinctually ferocious. They think they each know who they're dealing with, but both are very wrong. Two killer women on a collision course with each other that sounds like kind of violent and kind of sapphic. Sign me up. I also picked up The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw. This one I literally just read this past month and I liked it, but I want to read it again. I feel like on a reread I would get more out of it because it is very, very, very short and it just felt like it kind of flew by. If you missed the full review of this in my October wrap up, I will link it up above and down below. I actually talk about quite a few of these books in that wrap up and I'm not going to be going into a full review because we would be here all day. I'm just going to haul these books. But basically this is a dark retelling with feminist undertones of The Little Mermaid. It's a very conceptual, very fantastical horror, but I enjoyed it. And the last thing I picked up while I was in the Twin Cities is We Came to Welcome You by Vincent Tirado. This is actually my Pretty Girl book club pick for this month. So if you're interested in reading along with my book club, you can join my Patreon. We will read this book throughout the month and then discuss it at the beginning of the next month. I'm so excited that this is our book club pick because I love a thriller with something to say, and this sounds like that. A gay couple in this book moves into a neighborhood, and you would think like, oh, it's a thriller, they're gonna face homophobia, the most frightening thing of all. Okay, well, yes, but it's like a sinister, weird thing. Like everyone is way too welcoming to where it feels fake, and increasingly weird things start happening to them until it all comes to a head. It sounds kind of like, what is that Alyssa Cole book, When No One Was Watching? The book is about a neighborhood undergoing gentrification. I feel like this is gonna be a book about the ever-expanding gayborhood and how straight women want to be a part of that, and sorority girls are overrunning the gay clubs in Austin, and I want to kill myself. Anyway, so that is everything that I got when I went to see Aspen. I am gonna go into the next most fun thing. Basically, I'm gonna just get the fun stuff done with because I really want to talk about it, and these are the things that I'm most excited to talk about. I went to a new indie bookstore in Austin. I was so excited to go, and my boyfriend was telling me like they have this whole horror thing for Halloween. So we went and we spent way too long in there, and it was honestly like one of the best moments of my entire life because people don't really do that with me over books. Like partners, I've never really had a partner who's like as obsessed with horror books as I am, so it was literally amazing and I felt like I was in a movie. So these are the things that we picked out. First up, I grabbed A Familiar Spirit by Lisa Tuttle, and this is one of the paperbacks from hell. You can see the little emblem here. If you've read Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix, then you know I love that book. It's all about the horror paperbacks of the 70s and 80s. So this one was originally published, I believe, in 83. Yeah, this was originally published in 1983, but it's been brought back as the Paperbacks from Hell resurgence from Valancourt Horror. Fun little paperbacks. They're just so easy to read. This one is about a woman who goes through a breakup and she moves into her first house that she's going to live in by herself. She's obviously like grieving and going through it, but then she realizes that there's something keeping her company in this new house, but it may not be as benevolent as she wishes, and she has to deal with this haunting and also deal with her own emotions. And I already read it and I really, really liked it. I also picked up Night Rooms by Gina Nutt. This is a personal essay collection that has like some themes of horror and
feminism, anxiety, depression, suicide, body image, da da da.
It masterfully leaps between reality, movies, past and present, because the final girl's story is ultimately a survival story told another way. I loved that, and I'm also kind of playing around with writing personal essays myself. I don't know if I will ever do anything with that. I don't know. I'm not trying to publish anything, okay? I am just kind of being inspired, exploring writing more, which I've never really done. So I want to get into more personal essay collections because, I don't know, I'm hoping that it inspires my work a little bit, and this one sounds like one that I'd really like because it comes from a feminist horror lens, which clearly I am writing from that lens. I also picked up Jawbone, which is by Monica Ojeda. When I read this description, I was like, this book may have been written for me. It's about this group of girls who are creating dangerous rituals after school, worshiping a drag queen god that they have invented. But they have a secret rooted in a dare where violence meets love. Is this sapphic? I think it is. Interweaving pop culture and horror concepts from H.P. Lovecraft and creepypastas, which I love, that like classical meets internet brain rot, that's me. It's an ominous multivocal novel that explores the terror inherent in the pure potentiality of adolescence and the fine line between desire and fear. Yeah. I've also, since buying this, heard a lot of good things about it, so yay. This one was a recommendation from my partner. It is Good Night, Sleep Tight by Brian Evanson, and he's actually already read me a few of these stories. And from what I read, I really like one story I actually had to take a picture of and send to Aspen because it reminded me of her. It literally made me start crying. It's called True Friend. Hold on. This first page of this story, you can pause to read it if you want. It's really great. I've not read with my eyes a lot of Brian Evanson's work, but he's like my boyfriend's favorite author, so he has read me a ton of Brian Evanson's work and he's really great. So new horror author on my radar. I'm really liking him. I'm actually reading a novel by him right now that's really great. It's called Last Days. So yeah, new horror author to put on your radar. I mean, not new, but new to me, so new to you maybe. I also picked up Mostly Dead Things by Kristen Arnett, and this is kind of like a story of grief through the lens of this family. The father figure has taken his own life, and so the oldest daughter, no surprise, has stepped up to manage the failing taxidermy business in the family. When the family reaches a tipping point, some unexpected incidents open up some surprising possibilities and second chances. But will they be enough to salvage this family and help them find their way back to one another? It's a darkly funny family portrait of a peculiar and big-hearted look at love and loss and the way that we get through them together. I just thought that that sounded perfectly up my alley, and I'm actually dealing with a lot of grief right now in my practice. A lot of my clients are holding space for grief. I think a lot of us are holding space for grieving in the wake of the election, or at least I am and my clients are for the most part. So this one I thought would be good if I need to like discharge some grief after work. And then the last thing I picked up from this indie bookstore is actually like a collection of horror comics, which I've never owned something like this before, but it's so beautiful. It's called The Skin You're In by Ashley Robin Franklin. And like, look at this, y'all. Look at this. Oh my God. And the art is so great. I've already read the first two stories in here actually, or I guess like comics, but like, look, it's horror comics. It's so cool. It's really fucking cool. I don't know. I am really liking it so far. You'll hear about it in my November wrap up. The next couple books I'm going to get into, I just randomly picked up at Target one day. I have no excuse. Starting out with The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. I just read this one in my new release thriller vlog that is out most recently. I will link that video up above and down below if you want my full thoughts on this book. But basically, it was just kind of average and weird while being completely ridiculous and unserious, and also like kind of entertaining. I don't know. I have very mixed thoughts on it, but it's basically about this guy who reconnects with his daughter, and she's getting married to this guy that he thinks is sketchy. So dad goes Nancy Drew mode and tries to expose the husband. And then I also picked up The Night We Lost Him by Laura Dave. A couple of my patrons had recommended this to me. I know that Laura Dave writes a lot of her books set around the area where I live, so I'm interested in that, but it's also getting good reviews. I did not read her first novel that was like highly praised either last year or a couple years ago, so I think I want to do a Laura Dave taste test at some point. I will let you know when that's coming. Love discovering new to me authors. Next up, let's get into a Half Price Books trip that I took. Was this necessary? No. But me and my friend were hanging out, and this was one of those times that I was like, I need serotonin, and she was like, girl, yeah, you need serotonin. And so we just went to Half Price Books. Okay, no excuses. This is what I do to make myself feel better. The first thing I picked up was Can't Look Away by Carola Lovering. I just read By Baby last month by Carola Lovering, and I really, really liked it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars, so I'd love to read more from her. It says it is 2013. Ooh, play the song 2013, the B-side by the Arctic Monkeys right now. That's the year of my life. That was truly my prime, okay? I was a freshman in high school on Tumblr doing things I shouldn't have been doing, and I was living it up. Anyway, it's 2013. And Brooklyn barista Molly Diamond has just locked eyes with Jake Danner, the frontman of an up-and-coming rock band. It's not long before Molly and Jake fall deeply in love, inspiring each other's writing and planning a life together filled with creativity, passion, and adventure. But nearly a decade later, Molly's teaching yoga and living in a posh Connecticut suburb with her younger daughter and husband, Hunter, who is not Jake Danner. She is lonely until Sabrina walks into her studio. A newcomer to town, Sabrina has her own reasons for seeking out Molly, and their blossoming friendship will set both women on a collision course of deep-rooted secrets, lies, and manipulation. Meanwhile, a new version of Jake's hit song is on the radio, forcing Molly to confront her past and ask the questions: what happens when life turns out nothing like you thought it would? Does growing up mean choosing with your head or your heart? And do we ever truly get over our first love? Yeah. I think Carola Lovering understands the themes that I want in a thriller better than I do. Like, she seems to read my mind, because rockstar boyfriend, questioning all of your life decisions, toxic female friendship. Does Carola know me? I'm scared. I also picked up Ghost Camera by Darcy Coates, and this is about two friends who stumble across a Polaroid camera in the woods, and every picture that they take reveals a ghost in the background, and they start taking more and more and noticing what is going on. I love Darcy Coates' writing style. It's always so atmospheric, haunting, and good, so I'm ready for a new one from her. I also picked up another thriller by Nicole Trope because I read The Truth About the Accident, and I really enjoyed that one. So someone else recommended in the comments of the vlog where I read this book, which is The Family Across the Street. It says, sometimes the most perfect families are hiding the most terrible secrets. How well do you know those people next door? I love a suburban paranoia thriller. People are suspecting things about their neighbor, and every family has secrets. On the hottest day of the year, the truth is about to come out when a tragedy unfolds behind closed doors. Yes, 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 yes. Hogarth Street will never be the same again. I'm excited. This book I have no idea about. Okay, I literally saw this cover and I was like, I feel like yes. Like, I feel like this is for me. It says, Your Shadow Half Remains, and it's blurbed by my personal favorite horror author, Rachel Harrison. She calls it astonishing. I trust Rachel Harrison with my life. This is by Sunny Moraine. I've never read from them, but it says that this is a post-apocalyptic tale where eye contact causes people to spiral into deadly, violent rage. So it's kind of like Bird Box meets The Violence by Delilah S. Dawson. I'm ready for it. Next up, I have Midnight on Beacon Street by Emily Ruth Verona. This is a suspenseful thriller set in October 1993, and it's a love letter to vintage horror movies in which a babysitter must overcome her own anxiety to protect two children when strangers come knocking at the door. This is perfect to me. I haven't even read it, and And I just know 90s ode to horror movies with a stranger at the door. Like, yes. Y'all know I love some home invasion shit. Please, yes. This next one I'm so excited for. It's a YA horror called I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me by Jameson Shea. It's about a cutthroat ballerina in Paris, and she goes into the catacombs to basically get involved with this soul selling thing where she's going to be the best ballerina ever. But the problem is she's not the only one who has done this. Other people have also sacrificed their souls. And as she descends into godhood and the mystifying underworld below, she's faced with the ultimate choice: continue to break herself for a world that doesn't love her back, or succumb to the darkness that wants her exactly as she is. Oh, yeah. I also picked up Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is quite a departure from the rest of my haul, but these books are really smutty and they seem to get really good reviews, and I want to be a part of the party, okay? It's a contemporary romance. I don't know anything about it, but I want to be a part of it. And the last thing that I picked up from Half Price Books is Not Forever, But For Now by Chuck Palahniuk. This is the new Chuck Palahniuk. I just read it this past month. I read it as soon as I bought it. I could not put it down. It's about two brothers who are basically like the epitome of privileged, waspy white men who are super entitled and born with a silver spoon. And it is just a weird, off-putting, scathing account of their activities as they basically take advantage of and murder people. There is some class commentary in here. There's some commentary on toxic masculinity and learned helplessness. And I thought it was okay. Very standard Chuck Palahniuk, meaning it was fucking weird, but I enjoyed it. All right, next up, we're gonna get into my trip to Barnes and Noble. Let me just prepare you. This was a lot. I went in for 2 books. I guess I'll show you those 2 books first. So I went on November 5th. I went on the release day for Before We Forget Kindness by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is the 5th book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, which I'm obsessed with this series. I read the new one every Christmas, like I have been for the past few Christmases now, and I just really, really love them. They're heartfelt magical realism stories about time travel in a coffee shop. I love them, love them, love them. And Barnes & Noble came out with this edition with green sprayed edges that I'm just obsessed with. So I went on release day to get this. And I knew that I also wanted to get The Queen by Nick Cutter, the new Nick Cutter book. And this is about a girl whose best friend has been missing for forever, but she randomly gets a text from her, and it starts on this whole chain of events that causes her to question how well she really knew her best friend. I've already read, well, I didn't read it, my boyfriend read to me the first chapter of this book, and I'm already so intrigued, so I think this is going to be my next read. But I literally just went to Barnes for these 2 books, and then I ended up with a lot more, so let's just go ahead and get into it. I also picked up Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. This is this new little novella that I featured in a vlog. I don't know if it's going to be out yet, but if it is, I will link it up above and down below. I don't want to spoil my thoughts for that new release reading vlog, so I'm not gonna tell you my thoughts, but I really highly recommend it. For full thoughts, you gotta wait for the vlog, subscribe so you don't miss it. But basically this is a slasher that happens at a rest stop and goes absolutely off on a lot of significant pieces of mental health and religious trauma commentary that I really appreciated, and I think Nat Cassidy is like really cool and really talented and really great, and I love him. I also picked up Clown in a Cornfield 3, The Church of Friendo. Hello, more horror with religious commentary. I love a slasher and I love commentary on religious trauma and mental health, so here's another one for you. I really liked the first Clown in a Cornfield, really didn't like the second one. We'll see how I feel about the 3rd installation. This is basically crazy killer clown slasher in a small town with a little bit of social commentary thrown in there. Love it. It's YA, but it's still pretty intense. Next up, we have a holiday romance, but we gotta make it a little bit spooky because I'm not gonna really, my attention's not gonna be held if it's just a normal contemporary romance at this point. But The Wedding Witch by Erin Sterling, I think I could really get into. It's about a brooding man, which like, look at him. Look at this brooding man who's whisking away this little witch. Like, I love it. He's a loner. He studies dark and ancient magic. But his friend, who's actually a ghost, asks him to attend a Yuletide wedding at a grand estate on the Welsh countryside. So he reluctantly agrees, and there he meets Tamsin, who is not a witch, but she makes her living off of them as she is a seller of magical items. So Tamsin and Bowen get in this romance at this Yuletide wedding, and there's magic and witchery. I also had to pick up the new Delilah S. Dawson. Miss Girl has been putting out books. Okay, she wrote my favorite book of this year, one of my favorite books of this year, which is Bloom. She also wrote Guillotine, which came out this year. And then she has It Will Only Hurt for a Moment, her new novel that I randomly saw on the shelves, and I was like, I need it. It's about this woman who is on the run from her crazy narcissist ex. And so she finds her way into a secluded artist colony, which kind of sounds like a cult. And when she uncovers the body of a young woman there, she starts noticing weird things, and she's having some haunting dreams. She's wondering if someone is out to get her or if this is a cult or what's happening. As she investigates the beautiful valley and the crumbling resort looming over them all, she unearths a chilling past that refuses to remain buried. Y'all know I usually don't like cult stuff, but I do really like Delilah's writing. Me referring to her just as Delilah like I know her. Yeah, I love Delilah's writing. I mean, I do. So we'll see. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. Next up, I picked up a translated work. This is Butter by Asako Yuzuki. And it is a novel about food and murder, okay? This is about a gourmet cook who has been convicted of serial murders. She's said to have seduced with her delicious home cooking. Yeah. That's me. I'm sorry, that's me. I haven't heard anyone talk about this, but I'm really excited to read it. You know I had to pick up the new CJ lead. Hello, American Rapture. Yeah, this is gonna be unhinged, feminist, horror about the end times. What more could you want? Next up, we have Cold Snap by Lindy Ryan. This sounded perfect for a winter reading vlog. It's a short little horror novella set in this wintry landscape. It says, 2 weeks ago, Christine's husband slipped off the roof hanging Christmas lights and fell to his death. Desperate to escape her guilt and grief, she packs up her son and the family cat, and they flee to a cabin that they reserved deep in the remote woods. It isn't long before Christine begins to hear strange noises from the forest, and she spots a horned figure watching from between the frozen branches. She assumes it's just an animal, a moose maybe, whatever, but the moose don't walk upright like the shadowy figure does. And they don't call Christine's name with her dead husband's voice. This is kind of giving me Stolen Tongues. And we all know that I gave that unpopularly 5 stars. But I don't care. I love that book, and I'm excited for similar vibes. I also picked up another Liz Nugent book. I really love Strange Sally Diamond, and a couple people on my Patreon were recommending her backlist, specifically this book, Little Cruelties, which the tagline is "You hurt the ones you love the most." So true, bestie. It's about 3 boys, each born a year apart, trained from birth to compete for their mother's attention. And this competition grows more and more sinister and merciless until only 2 of the brothers survive. So I guess you're gonna find out which brother died, what led to it, and it's gonna be some family trauma shit. And the last book that I picked up at Barnes & Noble, I actually kind of had a sneaking suspicion that I was gonna buy this one as well, so I don't really feel bad about it. The new Sally Rooney. Obviously, I am a weird literary girl, and Sally Rooney is our queen. So this is intermezzo. I honestly have no idea what it's about, but it's a new Sally Rooney, so like I had to get it, you know what I mean? It's about grief, love, family, but especially love. Aside from the fact that they're brothers, Peter and Ivan have very little in common. One is a lawyer in his 30s, competent and successful, and the other is a 22-year-old competitive chess player who's pretty awkward and a loner. We're following both of their love stories meeting women in the wake of their father's death. For 2 grieving brothers and the people they love, this new interlude, period of desire, despair, and possibility, is a chance to find out how much one life might hold inside inside itself without breaking. Ooh, that is a good sentence. A chance to find out how much one life might hold inside itself without breaking. See, this is why I love Sally Rooney, okay? I know this is gonna hit. And the last little section of books that we have to go over here is everything that was sent to me over the past couple months. Obviously, I am very, very grateful for getting these books sent to me, whether it's from publishers, sponsorships, or you guys. Thank you so, 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 so much. I am so happy that I get books sent to my doorstep. I know that is not something that happens for all readers, but as a reader who fucking loves reading, this is like the best thing ever. I did have a patron and subscriber send me a book because we were on sprints together and she was reading it and she was like, oh my god, Hailey, you need to read this if you haven't yet. It is Never Saw Me Coming by Vera Kurian. I heard about this when it came out, but it didn't really grab my attention. But now, hearing about what it's about, I'm like, why did this not catch my attention? This is about a girl who's a freshman honor student and also happens to be a psychopath. She's a part of an unusual clinical study of psychopaths, but she has a side hobby involving a childhood friend who grievously wronged her. When one of the students in the study is found murdered, a dangerous game of cat and mouse begins, and our main queen goes from hunter to prey as she races to identify the killer and put her own plan for revenge into action. She'll be forced to decide, can she trust any of her fellow psychopaths? This is so interesting. I wonder how the mental health rep is going to be. You know, I'm definitely going to give you the tea, but either way, I love a woman doing bad things, so yay. Next up, let's talk about the books of the month that I got the past few months. First up, we have Mad Woman by Chelsea Beaker. This is a lot of feminist commentary about motherhood, what it takes to be a mother, the sacrifice, etc. Kind of reminds me of Night Bitch with the themes, but it's about a woman who, I believe she receives a letter from a prison and it turns her life upside down. It's very ambiguous, but it sounds good. And I was also sent the audio of that book, so I'm definitely gonna be reading it because you know I love a little tandem physical and audio moment. I also have Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert. This is clearly a horror book from Book of the Month. It says the sole survivor of a serial killer might hold the key to stopping a new spree of murders. Beware the one who got away. And the last Book of the Month selection I have to share with you is Dearest by Jackie Walters. A new mom in need of help opens the door to her long estranged mother, only to invite something much darker inside. Will caring for this baby help them mend their fraught relationship, or is there more that her mother isn't telling her about the events that led to their estrangement? We love attachment trauma and horror. That intersection is where I thrive, truly. And this last group of books here are going to be all the books that I was sent from publishers, whether they are ARCs, finished copies, whatever. I get so annoyed when I receive both an ARC and a finished copy. It just feels very wasteful. I feel like I don't really need that. So publishers, why are we doing that? I don't know why no one else is talking about this. I'm trying to start this conversation because what the fuck? But also, thank you very much. I'm very grateful. The first one we have here, which I will be reading in December, is a new thriller from Joshua Corin called Assume Nothing. It is set in 1985. Kat McCann was 6 years old when a renowned detective solved her mother's murder and unfortunately proved her father as the culprit. And now 10 years later, in 1999, she's still obsessed with this heroic criminologist. She's also addicted to the best-selling novels inspired by his ingenious deductions. So kind of like a Agatha Christie. She has devoured them all, even the one based on her father's crime. When she finally crosses paths with this detective again, a friendship evolves, and he's delighted to share the secrets of his success with such an eager and clever girl, inviting Kat to solve a murder of her own. One that challenges everything she believes about the detective, the author, and her own past. Fact, fiction, truth, and deception all collide, and it's all Kat can do to survive the shocking twist at the end of her own story. My god, this sounds so good. Cannot wait for my December vlog when I read this book. Next up, we have Rules for Second Chances by Maggie North. This is a contemporary romance about a married couple who are finding love with each other again anew. Thanks for sending it. Next up, we have Exposure by Ramona Emerson. And this is a serial killer book. The serial killer targets native people whose murders are easily disguised as death by exposure on the frigid winter streets. He slips unnoticed through town, hidden in plain sight by his unassuming nature, while the voices in his head guide him towards a terrifying vision of glory. I really like a serial killer book, especially one that sounds like it's going to have commentary to it, so we will see what I think. I also have a couple sent from Minotaur. The first one is I Dreamed of Falling by Julia Dahl. The death of a young mother has triggered an avalanche of secrets in a small town. We are following the reporter for the local paper, and his girlfriend is found dead, and he realizes he has no idea what was really going on in her life. When he starts asking questions, he's not prepared for the answers. It's a gripping thriller and a moving portrait of a family struggling through tragedy. Sounds like a good mix to me. They also sent over Red River Road by Anna Downs, which I heard really great things about this. It does feel more summery, so I'm not sure when it's gonna get to it, but it's about a woman on the road looking for her sister who vanished without a trace, and she's using her social media accounts as a guide to retrace her sister's steps, but she fears she's being followed, and then her path collides with someone who's on the run from their own dark past, and it's a twist-filled journey into the dark side of solo female travel. I have heard great things about it. I really want to read it, maybe on vacation, maybe on a solo vacation. Ooh, that'd be crazy. The last book that I have that was sent to me, and also the last book of this entire haul, is A House of Glass by Sarah Pekkanen. What happened to Greer Hendricks? I don't know. Conspiracy theory. Somebody tell me what happened. I want the tea. There's probably no tea. Like, Greer just was done writing. But also, like, and this is that type of thriller shit I like. On the outside, they were a golden family with a perfect life. On the inside, they built the perfect lie. Like, why does this sound like investigation discovery show? Like, I love thrillers that read like that, you know what I mean? It says, a young nanny plunged to her death, or was she pushed? A little girl who collects sharp objects and refuses to speak, and a lawyer whose job it is to uncover who in this family is a victim and who is a murderer. But how can you find out the truth when everyone is lying? Family secrets, suburban drama, investigation discovery vibes. I'm gonna love it. And that is gonna be it for this haul video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you got some new books to add to your TBR or check out from your library, or to go out and buy a million of if you are crazy like me. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, especially because you don't want to miss out on all the vlogs and all the content of me reading and recommending all of these books. You gotta follow up and see if these are actually worth it, you know? Or else, like, what's the point? And also, don't forget to go down below and check out Notion. Click the link down below to give Notion a try. And of course, don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!